So people talk about Azusa Street as if it were Pentecost 2.0. But what if I told you the eyewitnesses themselves said otherwise? In 1906, a small mission at 312 Azusa Street became the epicenter of what we now call the Pentecostal movement. Led by William J Seymour, people gathered claiming tongues, prophecies, shaking, trances, the whole package, the whole deal. Here's the part most people never hear, though. Early Pentecostals believed the tongues at Azusa were real human languages, just like Acts 2. They genuinely thought God was giving them Japanese, Chinese, Hindi, and Zulu for missionary work. So what happened when they tried? Every attempt failed. Native speakers said the languages were not languages at all. Missionaries arrived overseas and couldn't communicate with anyone. Even sympathetic observers, they admitted the speech was unintelligible. And the most shocking part? Charles Parham, the man who taught Seymour the doctrine of tongues, visited Azusa and publicly denounced it as confusion and animalism. So before we build theology on Azusa Street, we need to be honest about what it was and what it wasn't. Acts 2 was xenoglossia. Azusa was ecstatic speech. If we want clarity on tongues, we start with scripture, not a revival meeting in 1906. So if the tongues at Azusa Street were real languages, then missionary fields should have proven it, right? One of the boldest claims of the Azusa revival was that believers could now preach the gospel without learning languages. They believed the Spirit had restored the miracle of Acts 2. So they put it to the test, as they should have. A woman claimed she could speak Japanese by the Spirit. She was sent to Japan. Japanese Christians listened and said it was nonsense. Another claimed Chinese. Native speakers rejected it immediately. Others claimed Hindi, Zulu, even Arabic, and every single case failed. Pentecostal historians, not critics like me, now openly admit there were 0 verifiable human languages spoken at Azusa Street. And yet, this movement became the foundation for modern charismatic theology. Here's the uncomfortable truth, y'all. When the tongues at Azusa Street were tested in the real world, they collapsed. When the tongues of Acts 2 were heard, everyone understood them. If the fruit doesn't match the pattern of Scripture, we don't adjust the Scripture. We adjust our assumptions. So what if I told you that the very man who invented modern Pentecostal tongues wanted nothing to do with Azusa Street? Before Azusa, there was Charles Parham, the teacher who first claimed tongues were the initial evidence of spirit baptism. William Seymour learned this doctrine from him. So when Azusa Street exploded in 1906, Parham traveled to Los Angeles to see the revival for himself. What he found shocked him. He saw people shaking uncontrollably, falling into trances, shouting, and speaking in what he called gibberish. He declared the entire movement confusion and animalism. Think about that, y'all. The very founder of Pentecostal tongues rejected the most famous Pentecostal revival. And why was this? Because even he recognized that the tongues at Azusa were not languages. It was not orderly, and it was not consistent with Acts chapter 2. This is the part of the story that gets edited out because it raises the question. If the man who created the doctrine didn't accept Azusa, then why should we? The standard isn't Azusa, people. The standard is Scripture. And Scripture gives us a very different picture of tongues.